Good day, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well. I'm going to run you guys through today's conversion of a Nurgle Helbrute, working on the legs today. I'm going to answer a couple questions that were asked of me ahead of time. I apologize for any video or audio quality issues, and I hope you enjoy the video. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started with the legs. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to add in some green stuff to the legs. I had some questions initially as to how I really wanted to do this, but I went in and just started working on it. And one of the questions that was asked of me on a previous post was, what do I use and how do I get the skin to look so smooth? As you can see here, I'm using a pick tool, so dental pick tool. I use it to smooth out the green stuff onto the model. I do use water to make sure that anything I do doesn't stick to it, doesn't stick to my tools, it doesn't stick to my fingers. It also allows me to smooth out the green stuff without actually having to put a whole lot of effort into it. You'll see throughout the video that I continuously dip my fingers in the water. I apologize ahead of time. First little bit here, I didn't realize that I wasn't actually in camera view. First time making a video this way, so I apologize ahead of time. But I do go through and I put water on my tool relatively often, as I just did right there, and I smooth all this out as I'm going. In the beginning, I don't really care so much whether it's smooth or not, so long as I get it onto the actual model. The intent being that it's on there and I can work with the stuff as I go. You'll see here soon as I will start to show you that I'm just molding out the general area of where I want my green stuff to be, just the general area of where I want it to look like, and kind of working with preconceived concepts of folded skin here. I'm attempting to make this look as fat as I possibly can. I also wanted to make it look a little more disgusting. You'll see here in a second, I'm going to go ahead and skip forward a little bit and continue that on. Here is just an example of what I've done after putting a little bit in. I decided to put in some more green stuff towards the top and try to make it look like the skin is coming around the armor that's there. It's kind of just pushing or bulging the armor out. I didn't want it to look muscular in any way because obviously it's Nurgle, it needs to be fat. So what you see here is I'm going to push this into the actual behind the armor, and using water I'm going to get it around the edge so that it doesn't actually get stuck on the armor. I'll push it down in there and eventually smooth it out and make it look more natural with the rest of the skin. So here's where I'm going to change and use a new tool. I have a series of rubber tools that I use. This one's mostly just for getting into small places and adding some odd texture to my models. This one has a broken end on one end that makes great texture for Nurgle models. I do wet these also, and I do push the skin around and smooth the skin out using the rubber tool. Here I'm going to add in some more green stuff towards the feet. Now this was a little bit of a challenge for me. I wanted to make the feet look like they were also growing in skin overlap. So this was a little more complicated for me to figure out. But again, just pressing the tool around, playing around with it until I got it. The great thing about a Nurgle model is that it really doesn't matter what you do. You have the option to fail at something, quote unquote, and still actually make it look right, because well, it can be decayed, it can be broken, and the skin's still going to look like Nurgle. So that's one of the benefits of being able to do a model like this. So this I came in and I started working on. It was relatively new for me, and I apologize that you're not going to be able to see some of the work because my hand was in the way. But it was still something that was easy for me to come figure out over time. What I'm doing here is smoothing it down up against the foot so that when you actually look at it, in the actual model a little later on, you'll see that it merges into the foot and skin. It looks like it's regular skin. Okay, so here I've gotten a little further with the foot model. I apologize that my head gets in the way of some of this stuff. I'll remember that for future videos. But coming around, I'm basically just molding it over the rest of the leg to make sure it doesn't look like the foot is still there, making it look like the skin's kind of decayed over. Now that I have most of the skin in place, I'm going to take it's a pen. I took a pen and took a little inkwell on the inside, and I basically wet the end of it and just start putting in pock marks. I push it into the green stuff, making giant circular holes, but usually in that hole you'll see where there's going to be some pustules or some pock marks. I'm going to do this with a couple different tools. I actually take the pen cap also that has a little hole on it and uses the same thing. I also just take the circular portion of the pen and make some bigger pock marks if I needed to, or bigger pustules. Once I do that, I'm going to come back and I'm going to adjust and make some holes in some of the nodules so that it looks like it's a festering wound, or maybe like an area that a worm would have crawled in and is biting through, or something similar to it. Later on, when I'm finished getting towards the end of the model, I will come back and add in worms and stuff like that and make it look a little more disgusting. But the intent right now is just to get the skin and the basis there where I want it. Once you have the nodules in place, one of the things that you got to come back and do, and this is, as I explained a few seconds ago, this is me coming in and poking the holes in some of the nodules. But the other thing that you're going to want to do with your tools is to smooth the area out around it and try to push some of the green stuff that you can push out back in, so that it looks more like natural skin and it doesn't look like you just shoved a pen cap in. It takes a little bit of practice, a little bit of work, and probably you're going to want to use a series of tools. I'll use the back end of the pick, or I'll use the rubber tool that I have in an attempt to get it to look more smooth. And this is what it looks like at the end. So I've taken everything, I've smoothed out the areas around it. If you look at the back of it, you'll see a couple areas where I kept the indent to the pen just because I like